You recently had an article out there about LeBron James and Rich Paul potentially, positioning themselves for the Las Vegas franchise, who I guess, pretty much assuming Vegas is going to get a franchise within the expansion in the next years that are coming. And Rich actually, obviously, as you know, came out on his podcast with Max Kellerman, pretty much quote unquote refuting
Yeah,
the article in some ways.
kind
What
of.
I want to know is, like, were you more so like signaling something active behind the scenes, or was it more so like a long term power move that is developing? What did you have in mind with the article, pretty much?
So, Bleacher Report asked me to start a new series, which is like 5 things that we're hearing about a specific player in the off season. So I just wrote about Giannis. It'll go live in the next day or two. Um, I was asked to write. The first one I wrote was on LeBron, and so my job is to write about what I'm hearing. And so I mapped out, in addition to some of the logistics, the numbers, the reality. He could stay with the Lakers. This is what it would mean for the Lakers. He could leave, and if he leaves and goes to another team, this is the limitations and how he could get paid. He could retire. This is a personal decision that he has to make. I can't make that for him. He's hinted about it. He's talked about it. It's clearly something he's considering. It may happen now. It might not happen. At the end, the last item that I put into these stories is more of a rumor based that is a little more buzzy. Now, if you're in the NBA world and you talk to different agents, you talk to different players, talk to people on different teams, everyone talks and gossips. This is something that like everybody sort of just knows, like there's a rumor about LeBron and Rich Paul doing this. I wrote in the article specifically, very clearly, that this was a rumor, that it's
Right.
not
I
coming
read the
from me.
article.
It's not. And I was very clear that these things, sometimes they're true, sometimes they're false. It's worth keeping an eye on. So from that point of view, I didn't say that this is happening. I didn't say all that. I just said there's definitely some rumors. Rich said, that he, thank you for putting him in that level, that he can't afford a
Yeah.
team. But that's also ridiculous because uh, there's when you buy a team, it's typically a group of people, and you
Right.
have the most famous, usually sport related person be the face of it. So, Magic Johnson has been the face of certain ownership groups. How much money did Magic put into those investments? I don't know if he put any or some or whatever. I honestly don't know. But he did not put the lion's share of the money. Rich Paul could put in a certain number, and LeBron can certainly put in more because LeBron has more money than most people, including Rich, including myself, and including most people you meet. Um, and if they wanted to partner up, and he said that he hasn't talked to LeBron about this. I don't know what's true. I don't know what's false. Rich said that he doesn't know me. He's called me before, so that's interesting. We've had conversations a handful of times. Am I close? And somebody, with Rich Paul and somebody I talk to regularly? No. Like, I know Rich. When I see Rich, we talk. We don't talk much. We don't talk too deep. We've had some good 30, 40-minute conversations before in person and on the phone, but he's not somebody who I hang with. He's a good dude. I have tremendous respect for what he's built. The agent market, being an agent is, in my mind, it's a wonderful job when done correctly. One of the challenges is getting started because like any system of power, those already in power use their tools to prevent others from taking that power. And Rich came in without that power and built something very special. So I have nothing but respect for what he's done and what he's accomplished. So I don't, if he's saying that he doesn't know me, maybe he doesn't, maybe he forgot me. I find that hard to believe. So if the first thing out of his mouth isn't true, then I don't trust the second thing out of his mouth. So if he's saying like, we haven't done this and I haven't said this and I don't know me, he doesn't know me. It's like, I had people text me like, hey, I was with you and Rich and we had a long conversation. I'm like, yeah, that happened. Again, like I don't mind being forgotten. Some people can forget me. I don't mind. Not everyone needs to know who I am. That I'm not in this for celebrity. But again, like I don't know that he was lying. I'm not accusing him of lying. He must have forgotten who I was. But the thing is if he's doing this, he and doesn't want to announce that he's doing this, he's going to deny it. That's what people do, and that's his prerogative. And I didn't write that to get at Rich Paul or to try to get a comment from Rich Paul. But I wouldn't be doing my job if I don't say, like, yeah, this is out there. It's buzzing out there. And I don't know that it happens. And I also wrote in the article that, like, the NBA hasn't decided on expansion, and it hasn't decided certainly on what cities that are going to expand. So we don't know that they're expanding. We don't know that they're going to Vegas. LeBron's still trying to figure out if he wants to play or not. So, but I do think there are things going on behind the scenes in terms of cities lobbying, and I think the NBA is doing its due diligence. And I'm sure they've already seen pitch. Well, I don't think they've seen formal pitches, but I think they've got an idea of where the money's coming from and who would be these things don't just happen. It's kind of like when a job opening comes up. Oftentimes that opening has been filled, but the organization is putting out an opening because they need to cross off certain boxes that makes to make it look like they're looking for diversity and things like that. That unfortunately they often aren't, and they make it look like they did a thorough search when they already had the person they wanted to hire locked in already. I'm not suggesting that's happening with LeBron and Rich Paul and an expansion team at all. But I don't mind it. It doesn't bother me. Like, when someone says my name, like I said, I'm not doing this for, I geek out and enjoy what I do and studying, basketball. And I was never a very good player, but I've taught players how to either work in a front office or how to be an agent, former players. So I bring some sort of value to this. Otherwise I wouldn't still be here. And people wouldn't be providing me a living for doing so. And I don't just throw things out, without doing, I take things seriously when I write them. And I'm very clear when something is a rumor. And if I'm saying this is happening and this is factual, or that's a very different, I'm very explicit when I'm saying this is what I'm hearing and reporting, and this is what is, occurring, versus, as I put in the article very clearly, this is rumor, take it for a grain of salt, in so many words. Keep an eye on it. So it was fun. He's got a podcast. A lot of people texted me. It was pretty funny, but I don't take it all too seriously. You take yourself too seriously, I find, doesn't do you much good.